friends, it's Chops, and welcome back to another Chopsvlog. I have finished up a majority of Mists of Pandaria. I haven't finished it yet, but I've done all the quests I can do. I've done all the dungeons I can do. I have maxed out engineering. I have done all the exploring. I have not done all the exploring. I don't think I've done all the exploring. Probably not. Anyways, we're the majority of Mists of Pandaria is done. I'm just tying up a few loose ends. I have not finished fishing, which I will finish probably tonight. And I have not finished cooking. Cooking is very involved, which is awesome. I love it. I just have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of mats that I need to farm up. Some of them can be grown. I gather at the Half Hill Farm, but that seems like it's a bit of a lengthy process. So I'm going to go farm some now. I need white turnips. The WoW Professions tells me that I need those for Way of the Grill. Wowhead tells me that they drop from some of these mobs up here, like a 2% chance to drop. That surely it's better than that. We're going to go find out. While I do that, I'm going to talk to you about my impressions of Mists of Pandaria. Since we are just tying up a few loose ends like exploring and maxing out fishing and stuff, I feel like it's time to sort of do a retrospective before I move on to Warlords of Draenor. Draenor? Whatever. But yeah, man, Pandaria. I gotta say, this is a shock to me how much I loved this expansion. I was expecting to like it, but it's a post Cataclysm expansion. It's a I've gone through this before. I think WoW Vanilla through WoW Wrath of the Lich King is World of Warcraft 1. Starting with Cataclysm, you get World of Warcraft 2. And then starting with Shadowlands, you get World of Warcraft 3, right? And this is a World of Warcraft 2 expansion, which is kind of, so I was expecting it to not be great. I was shocked. It is, I think, the best expansion so far content-wise. Now, this is to say I think it was the best expansion when it came out. I don't know. It might have been. I didn't play Endgame at the time. But in terms of content that is currently available to free-to-plays, Mists of Pandaria is by far and away my favorite of the many that I've done so far. Every zone is gorgeous. I mean, just look at this, right? Like, it's beautiful. It makes sense as a continent. Like, it makes sense going from the Jade Forest to the River Valley to Kunlai Summit to whatever. What was the other? Krasaranger, Karasong, whatever. Wilds. Like, it makes sense as a continent. The topography is awesome. Each zone has depth to it. As a continent, Pandaria makes more sense than any other continent in World of Warcraft, at least so far. I think that it's just a sharper zone design in its entirety. And that's even before, like, you get into the questing. Like, the quest design and the quest stories in Mists of Pandaria are stellar, start to finish. It's all killer, no filler. I didn't have a single time in any of these quests where I was bored, where I felt like I was just being given quests to get me through to an end game. I didn't have any time where I felt like the quest writers were just kind of filling space in the game, or they were just trying to, like, basically phone it in. It was great because you got into it and you started off your questing experience, and these are not the right guys apparently, and you got cracking on it. And each area that you went to, like each little pocket of quests in the each little questing hub in the zones had their own little concern, and each sort of zone had its own sort of regional conflict. And then as you worked through the little zone hub or the little quest hubs, you got sort of this larger zone storyline that you were working through, and sort of this larger zone-wide conflict that you were engaged in. And also, like, you'd have conflicts that were kind of within just like one or two quest hubs, and it was sort of this like concentric circles of storyline, because not only would you have these zone-wide storylines that you were being led through, but you would have the continent-wide storyline that you were engaged in. And so, like, that would weave its way into the quests as you were working through them, and work themselves into sort of the local and regional and zone-wide conflicts that you were helping people with, which is a fantastic way to tell a story, because it got you really kind of involved in the story, and it had these recurring characters that you saw through multiple zones, that you would help with sort of like getting them, helping them with their sort of like storyline. As you went through the story, you'd get to keep seeing them, and so it really invested you in this quest. And it didn't just seem like you were being dumped off into various zones to just hurry up and level, right? So it was this great sort of like small stories, medium stories, and then like the larger continent-wide story. And I don't know if it's set up to work this way or not, but at least the way I leveled through, and that was from Jade Forest to Kunlai Summit to Valley of the Four Winds, and then to Krasarang Wilds. That's how I did it. And Krasarang Wilds, when I finished, it sent me back to the Valley of the Four Winds, where the Mantid swarms knocked down the protective wall and were swarming over the wall. And the final quest of Mists of Pandaria for me was that sort of like heroic last stand at this wall, where all the characters that you had been helping out through all these different zones showed up to help you fight this big swarm of enemies that were coming over the wall. And now, because we don't get to finish Townlong Steps and the Dread Wastes and all that, I don't know what the rest of that storyline looks like. So I can't speak for it specifically, but going through this long 4-zone questing process, and then that culminating in this grand fight at the wall as the enemy crests over it, that was really, really cool. Like, it felt like everything that you had done led up to that moment, and it was great. Like, it tied together every zone that you had been in, all these characters that you were helping out, and it was just this stellar questing experience. And on top of that, I think there was the perfect mix of sort of seriousness and whimsy in the quests. Like I think in a lot of expansions, and especially a lot of quests, WoW kind of gets a little too caught up with itself, and it forgets that like it's a cartoony game. In this, like, there was just the perfect amount of whimsy, as well as like high stakes storyline. Like, you got the story of like the Shahs being turned loose in Pandaria, and like how maybe the arrival of the Horde and Alliance were mostly responsible for that, and like are the elders going to let you into the Valley of the Four Winds, which I gather is like furthering the storyline at higher levels, to help combat that. And then also you get the Yak Wash quests, right? Like you're helping this dude like save his business of washing yaks. Like it's funny, it's charming, it helps sort of like make the big stakes seem just that much bigger because not everything is sort of at that level, right? It gives you the sort of peaks and valleys. Like, yes, you're yet again going out to like fight these enemies and save the world, but also you're helping Joe down the street with his yak wash, right? Like he doesn't care about the rest of this. Like his business is hurting. Let's go help him out, which I thought was great, and it was funny. It was tongue in cheek. There were quests. I can't remember what exactly they were off the top of my head, but like they were kind of poking fun at the idea of World of Warcraft. It was self-referential. It was self-aware to an extent. Very good. I loved questing through Pandaria, and then sort of I guess what you could call like the Pandaria end game, the reputations, the professions, that kind of thing is really detailed and intricate and involved. Like to max out your tiller's reputation. I'm only like I think honored with the tillers, and like I've just kind of grown my farm to like 8 little plots instead of just 4 little plots. But like you've got to like sweet talk all the members of the tillers and not just gain reputation with the faction, but with each little individual member. And you do that by like bringing them gifts that you find, which is more or less bribery to get into the tillers union, I think. And then you've got to like help your buddy grow the farm. To grow all these, it's a way to like generate materials at end game, of course, but like the way it's worked into this reputation system is just fantastic. And then there's the Pandaren engineering wasn't all that interesting. It was pretty straightforward. But then there's like the reputation grind for the dragon mount that I'm still doing. Where that's going to take a while, but it's like the Frost Saber mount. I think I've mentioned this before, where you have this like sort of buddy that you're raising them from infancy to come up and to come up and hang out with you, basically. But you have to like gain reputation with them over time out at the old arboretum there, and that's how you do that. And like that's cool because it's got like a wide variety of quests that those quests tend to change the higher in reputation you go. So you get you get this sort of like variety and this sense of progress rather than just a slog, right? And then you've got the I'm gonna go out there and do it now. You've got the Nat Pagal the anglers rep, which I haven't really even started yet. I think I've done it like twice. But you've got to like gain reputation with Nat Pagal and his little town of fishermen, which is cool because Nat's been around since like vanilla, man. Like he's this famous fisherman, and now you get to finally like meet and work with him in this cool way. And do some quests and stuff. I think there's like the way it ended up coming together for free to play. It feels like, I know it's not, but it feels like a complete expansion, right? I know I can look at the map and I can say, oh, I didn't get to do town long steps. Yeah, I haven't done all the exploring. I didn't get to do dread wastes. I didn't get to do the raids and stuff in there. I can go out. There's stuff to farm out at the Timeless Isle, and I imagine probably Isle of Thunder and all that. But like you can't quest through here. You can't do the quest. You can't do the main content of these islands. And you can look at the map and say that. But if you didn't have that reference point, like if you didn't know everything that the expansion contained, and you just played through this, you would almost think it was a full expansion for free to plays, like a complete thing that free to plays got, because it does. The quests end with that big fight at the end. The professions, the reputations, the mount grind, like all of that makes it feel very tied up and complete, and that is huge. That's huge. It just feels good, as a player, to get that full and complete sense of an expansion, while also feeling like there's not like a lot of artificial grind built into it, right? Like that's where a lot of people's distaste with a lot of the later expansions is not that there is a grind, but that it feels like a lot of grind got put in for the sake of having grind. It feels very artificial. It feels sort of just like placeholdery. I should probably get out an actual mount for this. Whereas all of this feels very natural to me. It feels like this is the way an expansion should work. And like I said, I don't know how it was when this expansion got released. I don't know what people's response to it was. I don't know what the general enjoyment at endgame was when this was current content. The only WoW I was playing at the time was twinking. I don't even think I leveled. Yeah, I didn't level my main. I didn't level my 60 through or my end game tune through MOP at all. I think I stayed at level 80 or whatever it was. Yeah, so I didn't know. I don't know, but in current times, yeah, man, this is hands down my favorite expansion that I've played through yet, and I think it's going to be really hard to top. Like, I know we have WoD coming up, which I hate time travel as a story device entirely, so I'm already pretty poisoned against warlords. And then after that, we have Legion, which I had to quest through for the gear and pre-patch, and I hated it. I liked a couple of the zones in Legion, but I hated the quests. I hated the continent. I hated the feel of the expansion. I hate how lazy everything felt. And then BFA, where I've quested through Tiergard Sound and love it. I love Tiergard Sound. And I know that we got Drustvar recently, and I remember liking that when I quested through on my high level. So I'll probably enjoy that, but like, I don't know what the rest of BFA looks like in terms of like rep grinds and professions and stuff like that. That's the only one I could see topping Mists, if only because I really love Tiergard Sound. I think it's one of, if not my favorite zones in the game. And then I really liked Drustvar, however you say it, a lot. I thought that story and the aesthetic was very cool. So we'll see how sort of like the end game on that works out. But yeah, man, Mists of Pandaria blew me away. It's everything that I want in an RPG. Like, I might level some of my other tunes to 20, which I haven't done. This is my only free to play at 20. All my other characters stayed at 10. I might level some of them to 20 just to play through Mists of Pandaria again. Brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. I'm floored and really caught off guard by how much I liked it. Because like I said, I was expecting not to. So kudos to the design team from MOP, man. That just aces. I don't think I have any complaints about it. There are some weird phasing issues here and there, but like, that's it. Like, sometimes I'd be running along and like there would be a mob that I'd see in the distance, like, oh, I'm going to kill that guy. And by the time I got there, he had phased out because it was in a different phase. That's it. It's the only complaint I had. So yeah, man, I'm gonna stop tripping over my own tongue here a little bit, talking about how much I really loved this expansion. It was fantastic, and I'm probably gonna get a little bit more done in terms of reputation and profession grinding before I kick off to WOD. Because as you saw at the beginning of this video, I thought I was going to be able to grind some profession mats from those guys, but the drop rate's just abysmal. So I'm gonna have to figure out the best place to farm up the mats I'm gonna need, or if they're even really farmable, or if it's gonna have to be something I grow at the Half Hill farm. Some of it may be like some of the mats are like meat and fish and stuff, which you can get from killing animals. But a lot of it's like plants and herbs and stuff like that, which I guess can drop from mobs, but maybe not all that frequently. So anyways, I'm going to at least do enough of this to get that figured out and figure out what I need to do to finish these professions before I move to WOD. But I expect by the end of next week, I'll at least be starting Warlords. I've done a little bit of it just through pre-patch and early Shadowlands stuff that we had to get done. So I'm not in any real hurry to get there. And like I said, time travel is not my favorite thing in the world. But yeah, so that's that, man. MOP, 100%, just aces. Wow, man. Anyways, that's it. Oh, one more thing. Somewhere last week, we passed 500 subscribers. I don't know when. I definitely wasn't sitting there looking at my YouTube page and hitting refresh at 499. Definitely wasn't something I was doing. But we passed 500 subscribers, which is super cool. I'm not trying to be a YouTube star. I'm not trying to monetize this. I've got a day job that I really quite enjoy. You know, the career is kind of going really well for me. Not eager to leave that behind or trying to. I just thought I would create this channel to sort of record my progress, share my progress, and also, you know, share my joy that I get out of this very niche kind of gameplay. And I always thought, you know, man, if 20 people follow me, 20 people subscribe, that's cool. That's 20 people that I'm trying to get into really enjoying free to play World of Warcraft. But 500, man, I would never have imagined that. So that's cool as hell. So really, honestly and truly, thanks for hanging out. And I will talk to you guys next time.